Let's move on to things that actually do matter. Things like, well, rules and standards. Standards seem to change. In your house, maybe when you were growing up, maybe you have kids now. Do your kids talk back to you? Maybe even cuss at you or hit you? Well, I'm sure you're probably shaking your head. Of course not. Of course not. Your kids are probably very polite, or at least you were when you were younger. I'm sure you screwed some things up. But you have seen kids like that, haven't you? They'll be out in public and they'll scream at their mom, "No, I'm buying the candy bar, you idiot." I've seen things like that. In fact, I saw that this weekend, that specific thing. I've seen kids hit their mom. Where am I going with this? What does this have to do with anything? Well, standards. Standards change. Why would a child speak that way to their parents? That's the standard in that home. Rules changed. That home has different rules than probably your home did, than my home does. Well, I think the people who lead the culture, speaking of our cultural leaders, they don't seem to understand the consequences of specifically how they've conducted themselves over the last 4 or 5 years. And I know the media has been broken for a very, very, very long time, but specifically the last 4 or 5 years, they were uniquely disgusting. A lot of that has to do with Donald Trump and how they viewed Trump as this, remember, they didn't think he was going to win. And so as soon as he won, they were horrified. And then the entire system got together and they decided this is a terrible virus and has to be purged at any cost. So they went all in and they tried to purge him at any cost. 2 impeachments over nothing, Russian collusion investigation, day after day after day of relentless Nazi white supremacist attacks. We'll get to that in a second. And finally they did. Let's be honest. Whether you think it's cheating or otherwise, they got rid of him. That much venom poured at him all day long. They weaponized COVID. They got rid of him, but they succeeded. Hey, good work, communists. Good work. You got the job done. But what they don't understand is the rules have changed now. The rules have changed in your mind, in my mind. I didn't change them. I don't even like the new rules. I want to go back to politics being the way it used to be, but that's not how it is. You want to know why things like January 6th happened? People sat back and they watched you cheer on while communist street animals burned down cities over the summer. So in their minds, the rules changed. Why do people use horrible rhetoric now? Dangerous rhetoric, dangerous labels? Well, maybe they remember some of the things you said. And now that the chickens are coming home to roost, to quote Barack Obama's pastor, these people like Nicolle, Wallace, they can't believe the dehumanizing language.
And I worry that in covering Glenn Youngkin and his politics of parental choice, all the focus was on how well it worked. And even in our conversations about DeSantis, it's about how well they're serving him. The truth is, dehumanization as a tactic for politics is from war. Dehumanization is a tactic. It's being used right now. The Russians get their soldiers to rape children by dehumanizing them. Dehumanization as a practice is a tactic of war.
You know what? She's not wrong. And my goodness, these accusations that are being lobbed at the communists now. I mean, one, just calling them communists. They always complain when I do that. And now they're being called pedophiles, groomers. And that's dehumanizing. That's dehumanizing. How could we think that that's okay in public? How could we think that it's okay to assign dehumanizing labels to our political opponents? Don't we realize how dangerous that is? Well, Nicolle Wallace, I'm glad you asked the question because, boy, this person here, man, this person used a lot of it.
You now have a president, as you said, talking about exterminating Latinos.
But he's now given safe harbor to Nazis, to white supremacists. That is part of the slow motion insurrection. He is an insurrectionist. They cheered at Hitler, too. I mean, nationalism isn't divorced from the capacity to cheer a crowd. It doesn't make it right. It doesn't make it American. And it doesn't mean that Donald Trump isn't totally ignorant of the history of the word nationalism.
Oops. Nazis and white supremacists. You see, Nicolle, the rules changed. You changed them. And now you will live under them. When people say to me, Jesse, you shouldn't call me a communist, that is dehumanizing, it's dangerous, it's a dangerous escalation. And you know what I say to them? Man, I am sorry about that dangerous escalation. I'm sorry about the label I've put on you. Sincerely, Nazi white supremacist. Nicolle, you changed it. The game has changed now. The rules have changed. You wanted to accelerate everything. You decided anything and everything was acceptable in the effort to remove the Trump virus from your system. Okay, well now anything and everything's acceptable, and those of us on the right who watched what you did, we changed with you. You remember this clip we played you yesterday of Jen Psaki crying?
I'm going to get emotional about this issue because it's horrible. But you know, it's like kids who are bullied, and like all these leaders are taking steps to hurt them and hurt their lives and hurt their families. And you look at some of these laws in these states, and it is going after parents who are in loving relationships who have kids. It's completely outrageous. But it is a wedge issue. Sorry, this is an issue that makes me completely crazy.
Oh, she's crying. Good. The rules have changed, you pedophile-enabling monster. I'm glad you're crying. I hope you went home that night and cried yourself to sleep. I hope you woke up again this morning and cried. Because people who want to pervert young children, they deserve to cry. They do. And your tears, they sustain me.
Don't miss Jesse Kelly Breaks History, The Forgotten Genocide, the first episode of a new series available now exclusively for First TV supporters. Visit the First TV app or thefirsttv.com to subscribe and start watching today.